Practice doesn't make perfect. Only perfect practice makes perfect. And this is something that most people do not know because they're not aware of the nature of what actually drives results, which is what psychologists call deliberate practice. Unless you are devoting your time to doing deliberate practice of your actions, of your skills, you will not get to that perfection level that you are seeking. Hello everyone, Leon Castillo here, CEO and founder of Selfmastered, which is a company that specializes in peak cognitive performance for entrepreneurs and business leaders. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We release a few videos every week to help people like you, ambitious entrepreneurs and professionals, accelerate their careers and build their businesses at record speed. So, today I want to discuss something that is a pet peeve of mine because when I was young, I read this book, Malcolm Gladwell, Outliers, I think it was, where he said that there was a 10,000 hour rule that basically shaped the success of anybody in any endeavor, across any industry, cultivating whatever skill, if he just put 10,000 hours. So 10,000 hours was the prerequisite to be world-class at something. And I remember reading this at 12, 13 and said, oh, that's bad because I've never really devoted 10,000 hours to anything. I was a very good reader at that time, but that's the only thing that I had done so far, just reading and playing with my friends, obviously. So over time, I started looking into the nature of results, of practice, of performance. How could you become better at whatever you chose to pursue? Did you actually need 10,000 hours? Was I doomed because I haven't had the chance to put in 10,000 hours before the age of 13 on whatever it is that I wanted to chase, which is what, by the way, apparently Mozart had done because his father basically forced him to develop his skills at a very young age. Was I doomed? Well, turns out that I was not. Turns out that Mr. Gladwell was wrong. And the 10,000 hour rule is just BS. Very useful to sell books, but not useful to help others understand what's actually behind the nature of mastery. So what I'm going to discuss today is something that psychologists call deliberate practice. And you can check the work of Anders Ericsson, University of Florida, I believe, who is one of the world-class experts on the science of peak performance. And he says that there's no evidence whatsoever that in order to master one skill, you need 10,000 hours. Depending on the skill that you are trying to develop, it can take more, or it can most likely take way less than 10,000 hours. In fact, John Kaufman says and has proven that only by devoting 20 hours to a skill, you can learn about 80% of what really matters of that skills. And then at that point, you start reaching that point of diminishing returns. So the point of the video is that you need to deliberately practice your skills. But what does that mean? What is deliberate practice? Well, deliberate practice is a practice that is actually aimed and geared towards improving. So instead of practicing the same thing time and time again, you're seeking avenues for growth within that skill. Let's say, for instance, that you are very good at writing 1,000 short stories, right? Well, deliberate practice would be to try to write a story that's 2,000 words, that has a different vocabulary, a different genre, a different set of characters. Anything that pushes you outside of your comfort zone, but is related to the original task, our original skill that you're trying to develop. And if you're an entrepreneur, what does that mean? Well, it means that just by selling, you not necessarily are going to become better at sales. You probably need to understand what are you good at in sales, what are you bad at in sales, and try to complement the bottlenecks within that system, right? Your sales skills, if you want to really drive superior results. You always need to be seeking what's missing in order to improve that. And the practice of constantly looking at the bottlenecks, at the things that you're not good at, that's what deliberate practice looks like. Always trying to improve your existing skill set. If you're very good at this, then it is very easy to become very good over time at whatever skills You want to learn because this strategy of looking at bottlenecks and understanding what are the patterns behind skill acquisition are prevalent across any skill, right? And you know intuitively that this to be true. So let's say you have, or one of your friends is a violinist, and he has been 20 years playing the same set of songs for the same type of audience, without innovating, without looking elsewhere, without trying to learn a different style, without composing his own pieces. Well, you know that over time, over those 20 years, he's probably gotten way worse at that skill because he hasn't pushed the limits of his ability. He hasn't expanded his circle of competence, as Warren Buffett would say. But if that same violinist friend spends 20 years learning how to use violin to a different type of genres for a different type of audiences. He also composes his own music. He tries to learn as many songs as possible. Well, obviously, over 20 years, which can mean whatever ungodly amount of hours, doesn't matter, he was going to become proficient at violin. So this is the point of the video. Practice does not make perfect. Only perfect practice makes perfect. And now you may be asking, how can I make this actionable? Well, what are you trying to accomplish? What is the skill that you believe you're lacking? Let's say that it is sales, and you have an 80% closing rate on hot traffic, right? And you may be thinking that you're very good at sales because you're closing 80%. Well, you're probably not that good because you need to master selling to warm traffic and selling to cold traffic, to people that do not believe in you, people that have absolutely no idea what you're selling. You need to constantly be looking for those types of prospective clients that can help you develop that skill set, right? You're going to become a master at sales whenever you have been putting in the necessary hours to sell anything to anybody at any times. This is when you can call yourself a sales master. And this will never come from doing 10,000 hours of selling to hot traffic, basically your fans, right? It's going to probably come from, let's say, 2,000 hours, 2,000 phone calls with people of all ages, from all walks of life, from different relationship to the brand you're building, and with different levels of knowledge of the intricacies of the product that you're selling. So before calling you a sales master in this example, ask yourself if you have maximized the avenues for growth in that skill. And if you haven't, well, that's very good news, because now you know exactly how to become better, right? This is deliberate practice in a nutshell. And if you want a proven framework to basically bypass more than 6 years that it took us to build a methodology to become a top performer and really learn the 7 core skills that you need, which is planning, execution, focus, motivation, energy, emotional control, and synthesis and reflection based on data, all within a new understanding of the world, which is what complexity science provides, then apply for the Selfmastered Evolution program. We have an incredible success rate, and people get incredible results accelerating their businesses or their personal performance in their job. Let me know if this was useful. Please put comments, like, subscribe, RT, share, do everything you know you need to do so that we can keep growing and keep helping even more people. Thank you very much. Cheers.